What's up? What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Monday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great. And I hope you're having a great week. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So what's up? What's up? What's up? How are each and every one of you doing? I'm good, man. It feels good to be back. Working a new job, working crazy amount of hours. Man, I've lost like 40 pounds. I feel great. I feel great as a whole. So much better about my life than I did 4 or 5, even a couple of months ago. It just seems like good things are starting to happen to me. I have an amazing woman in my corner, very supportive, solid woman. And like I said, sometimes when shit starts to snowball, it can feel like the end of the world. But if you hold on and you push through it, there's going to be good things to come out on the other side. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I feel great about it. But today, we are here for prison news. We are here to talk about 2 homicides that have happened in the Canadian prison system in the last couple months. So we're first going to go to the Toronto South. I think it was October 5th or October 6th. A man was beaten to death in a fight. Now, this is like a normal occurrence in prison. This is something that you hear about. But what's going to trip you out is when I tell you the age. So the person who died was 69. And the person who has been charged with this homicide is 54. Now, this is not normal behavior in prison. This is not what you'd expect. You would not expect typically 2 old guys to be going at it. These are what you'd either call OGs, or people sometimes call them pops, whatever they call them. These are old dudes, barely fighting, barely scrapping, let alone stomping each other to death. I don't know the cause. I don't know what happened. I don't want to speculate. But because the person was charged with manslaughter, then I have to assume that it was a beating, aka stomping, that went too far, and it wasn't like an intentional homicide, but somebody ended up losing their lives as a result of the beating. And it's probably because the man was 69 years old. And the crazy thing I read was that he hadn't even had a bail hearing. So that's the crazy thing about provincial. And listen to me when I'm telling you this. Don't go to jail. Don't go to prison. Because it doesn't matter what kind of charges you're on. It doesn't matter if you're on theft. It doesn't matter if you're on driving with a suspended license. It doesn't matter if it's DUI. It doesn't matter if it's assault, break and enter. It doesn't matter. Everybody goes to the same place. There may be 1 or 2 exceptions. Like I know Ottawa has a minimum and a maximum side. But in most cases, that's not the case. Everybody is together. So, despite the fact that maybe you're not a killer, you're not a drug dealer or a vicious, violent con, you will be with those people. Doesn't matter what you did. So, in your day-to-day, you are going to play a role in their time if you were locked up with them. It just is what it is. Like, when we would do time, the guys that would sit around on the block and try to be nondescript or like hide in the shadows, I guess you could say, those are the guys who a lot of the time are selected or targeted. And I don't know why that is. It just is what it is. Jail is a boring place and there's nothing to do. And sometimes if you're trying not to stand out, you can stand out, if that makes sense. And if you're in Lindsay or any of those super jails, there's what's called bug row. There's a row of benches along the wall, And if the first thing you do is wake up and you just go sit along that wall and you stay there all day, you're going to get a reputation as somebody who's a bug or somebody who's afraid. And a lot of those guys think they're just chilling. They're just kicked back. Nobody's paying attention. But the reality is they're paying the most attention to you. So you just want to avoid that. Maybe just go play cards. Like, get into something with a group of guys on the block that's probably not going to lead to big issues. Maybe get into working out. Maybe get into playing cards. Whatever it is, keep yourself occupied with positive things, and then maybe you won't be targeted, and then maybe stuff like this won't happen. Now, there is something that I have to tell you. You can't always avoid violence, you know, when you're inside. You can't. There's nowhere for you to run. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to run to the window and smash off the window and scream for your life, there's nowhere for you to fucking go. You gotta stay put, fight, and it may be scary for somebody who's not used to that. Like somebody like me who's in and out my whole life, basically. That's nothing. It's normal life because I went through it over and over and over and over again. I was conditioned for that. I was prepared for whatever came because I was institutionalized. But if you're a new guy, a lot of this stuff is intimidating and it'll make you stand out because of your anxiety. I don't know what happened in this homicide, but it's never good when somebody loses their life in prison. I'm not going to say rest in peace because I don't know what his charges were. It didn't say. But I will say that it sucks when people lose their lives. And that is homicide number 1. Now, homicide number 2 happened in Joyceville Penitentiary. Now, the crazy thing is, when I lived in Joyceville, I spent 7 years there. Joyceville was the second highest security pen in Ontario at the time, neck and neck with Collins Bay, but actually had more max overflow at the time. The Bay went through Gladiator School in like the 90s and the early 2000s, and the Ville was like 2005 to 2012-ish when they broke it down and turned it into reception. But in all those years, I saw so many attempted murders, I saw pure stabbings, never saw anybody lose their life. But it seems like these days, people are dying in Joyceville fairly regularly. Now, this guy who died in Joyceville on October 15th, his name was Donald Musselman. He's a 24-year-old dude. He was in prison for a second-degree murder. His lawyers still to this day claim that he's innocent and they would have won an appeal. I don't know about any of that. And while he was in the bucket waiting to be convicted for his homicide, he was charged with manslaughter for being involved in a stomping death of somebody. So this guy was clearly active, right? Clearly active. And I don't know why he died. I'm not going to make a claim. He apparently killed a rapper in Ottawa, and maybe this is why this happened. Maybe there's repercussions. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But it just shows you that it doesn't matter what side you're on, man. You could be the heavy in most cases. You could be coming out on top, you know, dropping people, smashing people. And then like that situation could change. Like when I was in the Ville, there was 2 specific dudes, big jack dudes, big guys that used to walk around, take everybody's dope, smash guys, would do their dope in their cells in front of their knocked out body, okay? These 2 guys were menaces, and nobody wanted to say nothing to either one of them because together they were like a combined 500 pounds of savage. But one of them ended up getting shipped out of the joint. And as soon as that happened, like I'm telling you, within 12 hours, the other dude was surrounded by multiple people and bounced out of the institution, or not the institution, but out of population, sent to 1A, which at the time was super duper 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 PC, because the pen is integrated. Keep in mind, there is no PC. So if you're on a PC range, you are super duper duper PC. But this guy put half of those fuckers on the block. Half of them. And yet, there he was, now sitting at a table, eating with these guys that he called super soft PC chicken dudes I could never roll with. Now he's sitting and eating with them. So this is how it goes sometimes, you know. Guys think they have it made. They have this guy and this guy in their corner, and they start talking sick and reckless, and it can cost you your life. And I'm telling you, man, the temper or the temperature in a jail can change, or a prison, in a couple days. One or two people come, one or two people go, change the whole dynamic of everything. There's power dynamic fights and struggles. I'm telling you, shit can change overnight. So you could think you have it, like my dogs are running things, but eventually your dogs are gonna go home. You understand what I'm saying? And that shit can backfire. Take it from somebody who had a beating backfire on him and would have got cooked if it wasn't for the fact that I was a well-known dude who had some well-known dudes in my corner who were willing to go to bat for me. Conversations happened and cooler heads prevailed. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it can cost you a lot. And believe me, even if you don't get cooked, because there's a lot of guys that, like, in my years I've seen that, whether it's running up debts or just running their mouth or getting involved in violence or whatever it is, like, prison can get really fucking shitty really quickly if your name kind of gets a bad name to it. Or if you fuck with the wrong person and that person is connected throughout the system. You can really make bad situation for yourself. Now, I don't know why this young dude got killed. I can say rest in peace to him because he wasn't on bad charges. I saw a picture of this kid, man. He did not look like some hardcore thug gangster to me. He didn't. He looked like somebody who probably got in with the wrong people. They poisoned his mind and shit went south. And that can happen, you know, when somebody maybe doesn't have influences in their life and they can reach out to the streets, or the streets reaches out to them, and they find these role models that maybe aren't positive role models that send them down the wrong road. And this kind of shit happens. I've told you many times, it's the same as when you're doing time in the system, in the federal system, and you see guys come from out west, like gang tatted down, head to toe, but now they're in Ontario running and getting checked out of this jail and checked out of this jail and checked out of this jail because they weren't really about that life, and shit ended up backfiring on them. So my advice in the first place would be never go to prison. Period. Jail, prison, don't even fucking break the law. Get a job, do it the hard way. I'm telling you, I've been working now consistently for 6 years of my life. I feel like if I would have just done this when I was 21, 22 years old, I would own a home. I would be in a much better situation. It just takes smart financial decision making and saving. And if you work every year, no matter what field, you will increase your value in that field and your wage. So take it from me, somebody who's been on both sides. It is much smarter, much more relieving and like rewarding to make your money legit and know that the government can't come take it because of proceeds, or you're not constantly ducking the feds or whatever, right? Like, you can walk with your head high, not worry about getting pulled over, not worried about any of that. Or you can choose to live this life and possibly be one of these two dudes. Like, I found out the story of the dude who died in Joyceville because his boy watches my channel and he told me about it. And I don't know the exact circumstances about the case, but he told me that his boy got killed. And it's sad. Anytime you see a 24-year-old losing his life in prison, I don't care if he killed somebody, man. Like, it sucks, for sure. But people can change. People can turn their lives around. And killing another young dude because he killed somebody else doesn't make things right. So in my mind, it sucks. You know, lifers have the lowest recidivism rate. They sit for a long time. They have to sit with their thoughts and their consequences. And a lot of the time, they don't reoffend if they just get a chance to get out into the community. And who knows? He may eventually become a functioning member of society. But instead, like a lot of people who lose their life in prison, he lost his life on a bathroom floor, on a shower floor, out in the middle of the gym in front of a bunch of people watching him lose his life. Like, this is terrible, man. It's a shitty way to live. Obviously, I share my stories with you guys so you don't have to go through these things yourselves. If I could snap my fingers, nobody goes to prison, nobody goes to jail. That's what I do, but that's not a reality, especially in 2024. It's hard out here. I was looking at the homicide counts in Toronto. It's gotten crazy, dude. Seriously. Like, I thought homicides was still at like 85, 90 a year. Now I'm seeing it's literally at like 130, 125. That is a jump from what I was used to. So obviously shit's getting real out here, and it's getting real inside, and man, we don't have to die. Like, you don't have to die, man. Make better choices, whether it's not doing drugs, whether it's not living that life in and out of jail, whether it's not living the gang life. Just focus on yourself. Be selfish. Focus on what's good for you and try to make a good, normal life. I'm telling you, you don't have to be a fucking multimillionaire to be happy. You don't. And for all those dudes that are hustling and thinking that that's how you're going to make it, it ain't. You know, you got to be able to show where your money came from. You can't just start flossing millions with no work history. Man, I wish I was educated about stuff a lot earlier in my life and I made some better decisions, but that's not a reality. So obviously, just listen to my stories and learn from them, and don't go through it yourself. So if you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link's in the description of most of my videos. Man, I love y'all. I'll be doing a live just now, probably the next few days. Yeah, another prison story. And I'm just trying to think, like, if I'm not talking about prison, what lane do I want to go down? What do I want to talk about? But we'll figure that out in the future. I love y'all. Rest in peace to that young man who lost his life in Joyceville. And it sucks that that other older dude lost his life in the Toronto South. It is just goes to show prison ain't worth it. Jail ain't worth it. And it doesn't matter who you are, you can lose your life. I love y'all. The new Mackler.